Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Television and Radio Talk Show. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You can find us syndicated on television. That's Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find us on the podcast at thenewscasters.com. And we're so happy to say we are at a wonderful radio station. It's a country giant station right here in Abbeville, South Carolina. Is 92.9, and on the dial 92.9, but they're WZLA. You can find them on their website as well. So anyway, it's just another avenue. And love Benji and Lacey. And Benji and Lacey is in the morning. They have their morning show, and I'm just going to tell you, they'll keep you in stitches. It's a brother and sister team. So when I found out they were brother and sister, I thought, oh no, this could be trouble. And it is trouble, but it's in a good way. So
Right.
anyway, thank you, Benji and Lacey, for letting me be part of your world at WZLA. I definitely appreciate that. AP Steadham, everybody's favorite sports guy, is with us right now. We're lucky to have him captured. And wow, this past weekend, it's kind of slow, but it was interesting.
Right. Yeah, there was only 5 games, Don, but one of the bigger games on the schedule was Alabama hosted Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt last year beat Alabama. It was the first time in 60 games that they had beat a number one team. You know, they're 0 for 60, I guess, playing number one team. So they beat Alabama last year, but this year Alabama repaid the favor and beat them 30-14. It was a pretty good battle, actually, but Vanderbilt made some mistakes, and you credit Alabama to helping them with those mistakes, if you would say. And so Alabama, their quarterback continues to be hot. Ty Simpson, he's completing 75% plus of his passes, and he has a good core of receivers, one of the tops, I would say probably in the country, top 5 in the country, wide receiving core. And then they had some, Jam Miller had over 130 yards running. So that was a great addition to a running back room that had struggled this year. So they scored the 30 points and able to defeat Vanderbilt. So that was a big plus for them. But Vanderbilt's a good football team. I mean, a couple of years ago, you wouldn't have had all this attention about the Vanderbilt and the Alabama game. It would have been something on the back pages. People would not have paid much of attention, but this year it was one of the top games in the Southeastern Conference.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Now, how does Alabama fare now in the polls?
Yeah, in the polls, Don, and excuse me, in the Football Writers Association, National Football Foundation, Alabama right now is number 7. I have them at number 9 in my particular ballot, but they're number 7. So they're rising, and they'll have more games on the schedule. They're going to get their chance to improve their ranking. But the main thing is not to make the college football playoff, be one of the 12 teams that earns a berth. And right now, it looks like the SEC, I'd say 3, probably 4 to 5 at this point out of the 12. So they're fine if you just keep winning ball games, and they're going to beat up each other. But I think if you keep it within 2 games or less and the loss count from the SEC, I think you're in good stead.
Mm-hmm. So like it. Now, what about some of the other games that were played? What were some surprises out there to you?
Yeah, surprise, Donna, was Texas, University of Texas. They highly ranked, had only the 1 loss against Ohio State, the number 1 team in the country, to start the season, 14-7. Texas was ranked number 1. They traveled to the University of Florida, who's been struggling, lost to South Florida along the way, lost to Miami. Florida's really been taking some hits, and their coach is on the hot seat again this year. So Florida, they were able to outlast Texas. They beat them 29-22. So that was an upset. And that was not very good for Texas, because now they have the 2 losses, which I mentioned, one within the conference against Florida. So they have to probably win the rest of their ball games. And they got a very difficult schedule coming up. Florida's got to play the Red River rivalry against Oklahoma this weekend in Dallas. And we know that Oklahoma is a very good team. And so that's going to be difficult for Texas, I think, to remain undefeated the remainder of this season. Not only do they have Oklahoma, but they'll have down the road, they have to go to Athens, Georgia as well, and they have to host Texas A&M. Those are both teams that are highly ranked right now. So just those 3 games alone, from, I guess, highly ranked teams, you have to win every single one of them probably to be in the college football playoff. So I would say, go ahead now.
What are they going to have to do to win it? They've got
their offensive line has not played very well, Donna. And Arch Manning, consequently, the quarterback, the first-year starting quarterback, he's been running around in the backfield trying to throw passes, and it hasn't helped his accuracy. And Texas, I think Arch Manning is the leading rusher, the quarterback, and he doesn't even run the ball that much. And so that's not good news for the Texas fans when your quarterback, who's not the supposed to be the best runner on your team, is the leading rusher. So they can't run the football. They're not protecting the quarterback. Defensively, Donna, when you start to sputter on offense, it's going to wear out your own defense. And over time, a defense that had good talent and was playing solid football, they'll begin to allow more points. So Texas has got to revive that offense and see if they can protect the quarterback much better, and also establish some type of running game where if you have the short yardage situations, at least you can count on your offensive line to displace people on the defensive line and open some holes.
Wow. Yeah, I'm a little surprised, to tell you the truth.
I am too.
I expected a little bit more out of them this year.
I am too, Donna, because I think along with Georgia, you picked Texas to be let's say, the SEC championship game for the conference and make the playoffs. Now, that's going to be very difficult. That's going to be a challenge that I'm not sure they can meet.
But the good, you just never know.
They're going to have a lot of improvement will have to occur on the offensive line for that to happen, and the quarterback as well.
Absolutely. Kind of the other games that were played this past weekend.
Yeah. Georgia was coming off the loss to Alabama. They were hosting Kentucky. Kentucky once again is struggling offensively. They had some turnovers. Could have been a little closer ball game, but Georgia prevailed 35-14 at home in Athens. So Georgia continues to win, and they're the team I still think is the tops in the SEC, even though they lost to Alabama. I think that Georgia has a good schedule coming up here with all their ball games because they host Ole Miss. They play at Auburn, but Auburn's struggling. So I don't think they mind going on the road to play Auburn because Auburn is not playing well, especially offensively on the offensive side. Their quarterback and their whole scheme is not producing points. So, but Georgia hosts Ole Miss. They play Florida and Jacksonville. They go to Mississippi State. They host Texas in Athens, and they'll host. They'll have to go to Atlanta to play Georgia Tech. So I think Georgia's got a favorable remaining schedule, meaning that most of those big games will be at home for them, and the other teams on the road, I think they can beat because they're just a better team. So Georgia is still the team for me in the Southeastern Conference until I see otherwise. Yeah. So and then Kentucky, they struggle, and they have their freshman. They have the young quarterback from the state of Kentucky playing Cutter Bowling. So he's got a nice arm, but he just needs some support from the rest of his team. So, and they're not playing very well right now. Kentucky, they just can't muster enough points down. The defense gets worn out as well. And
house probably about 3 or 4 years ago, as we were talking about them a lot. I mean, they were the team to watch.
Yeah, well, Kentucky was a good football program, good team. They had some transfer quarterbacks come in and do some good things. They're usually able to run the football, play good defense. Kicking game sometimes was suspect, but Kentucky's fallen now, and this is becoming a trend the last couple of years. They're not able to win enough games in the conference. I mean, last year, they won a big game on the road. I covered that game. It was Kentucky at Ole Miss, and they really kept Ole Miss out of the playoffs because that was the only win against the Power 4 team and the only win within the conference. So, but they're struggling.
Yeah. So who else do you have from this past weekend?
Yeah, Oklahoma played what I call that exhibition game. They beat Kent State by about 40 points. Michael Hawkins Jr. had to play quarterback because Matier, the quarterback who transferred from Washington, broke his hand. So he had that repaired. Possibly he returns this weekend against Texas in the big Red River rivalry. So, but now Michael Hawkins, he's from Dallas, Texas himself, but he's the quarterback for Oklahoma, started that game last year. I covered that game. He more of a dual threat quarterback, but he made progress throwing the football and running that offense. So Oklahoma really had that exhibition type game and won by 40 points. And then you had Mississippi State, a team that played Tennessee to overtime the week before. I was at the game, covered the game, 41-34. They went on the road to Texas A&M. Texas A&M's a hot team. They lost 31-9. Couldn't get enough offense going and surrendered 31 points overall to the Aggies. So Texas A&M is playing well, good defense. Marcel Reed gets better every week, their quarterback. And they put 31 points on the board at home to beat Mississippi State. So that wraps up the 5 games that were played last week. There's 7 this week, down to 7 games this week.
And we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. Before we go into a commercial break, though, AP, as we see it, love your show out there. I'm just telling you, South Carolina loves it. I mean, you're holding on to them. So there's questions. I want to know your opinion about, the rest of the season. Let's Clemson, you know how that goes.
Yeah, we'll love to talk about when we come back if you want. Then that'd be great.
Let's do it. Okay, we're going to be right back in just a few minutes.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for 2 or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
I'm excited to announce our Christmas extravaganza is finally here. Get this season's flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. They won't last long, so get them while you can. Our famous My Slippers, they haven't been on sale for over a year. Regularly $119.98, now only $59.98. Our 6-piece towel sets are back in stock with extremely limited quantities, only $29.98. With hundreds of MyPillow products, there's something for everyone on your Christmas list. Bathrobes, duvets, quilts, down comforters, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save on all MyPillow products. For example, flannel sheets for as low as $59.98. Or our 6-piece towel sets, just $29.98. But that's not all. I'm extending our 60-day money-back guarantee until March 1st of 2025. Plus, all orders over $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, we are back. My name is Donna, and I am your host of Donna's Edge television talk show where truth matters. Just had a client call, so I threw him in the voicemail. But thank you again so much for watching. We have AP Steadham with us right now and exclusive coverage of the SEC and SAP as we see it. And wow, we're going to hear about Clemson and South Carolina. Your opinion?
Yeah, Donna, South Carolina, they're coming off a victory over Kentucky at home. They had a bye last week, so they're getting ready to travel to Baton Rouge to play LSU. Now, LSU, Donna, they're a team that has good defense. This is the best defense I think they've had down in the Bayou since Brian Kelly arrived, the coach from Notre Dame. But offensively, Garrett Nussmeier is supposed to be one of the better quarterbacks in the conference. They haven't produced as much as last year on the offensive side, so they're having difficulties, just like South Carolina. Lenora Sellers, the dual threat quarterback, 6'3" or 4", 230, 40-pound quarterback for South Carolina. Maybe this week off will give them a chance to get reorganized. And as they say, maybe they can steal one on the road down in Baton Rouge because, like I said, LSU's not scoring a lot of points. So if you can just keep it close in the fourth quarter, maybe you get a touchdown, a pull ahead, or a field goal and win that ball game. But both teams are not highly efficient on the offensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm. I see that. Clemson, what do you guys say about them?
Yeah, Clemson, they're struggling. They're having a time of it this year. And Cade Klubnik, he was a third-year quarterback. I thought for sure that with all that talent, that Clemson would be one of the top teams. I thought at the beginning of the year they were a top 5 team. They were in my poll in the top 5, and then they continued to lose game after game. And it was because of one of the things was the offense. They're not producing enough points. So I'm totally surprised by Clemson's lack of wins this year. And I'm sure their fans are scratching their head as well, trying to figure out, we have a third-year quarterback. We're used to winning. We usually have a good defense. We're pretty solid in the skill positions, good running back, wide receivers, tight ends. But something went haywire. And so they're trying to salvage this season, Donna. They won't be in the playoffs, but they could still win a lot of games in the ACC. But I just think Dabo it has to be one of his better coaching jobs for the remainder of the season, because I'm sure all the players are certainly disappointed, the coaching staff. But he's the leader in charge, and he has to regroup and try to make the point that we could still win games and go to a nice bowl.
Well, what does Dabo have to do to pull it off?
Yeah, I think he's got to get better play from his quarterback. He's got the offensive line be more supportive and protecting the quarterback. You have to open the holes for the running backs, receivers catching the football, tight ends, and defensively just be consistent in your performance week to week. Lower the turnovers. Cut out any turnovers. And down to the things that really aggravates a football coach and the fans and the program, you have these penalties down to offsides, motion penalties, defensive penalties. So they just look at every facet of their team. You want to try to be much better than you have been in the previous 4 or 5 games.
Oh, yeah. AP, as we see it, what happened last week on your show and then this week?
Yeah, Donna, we had a lot of fun last week. Because of the 5 games, we were able to have a couple people on to discuss those games. We had the voice of Vanderbilt, Andrew Allegretta, and then we had Will Matthews, who's a sideline reporter for the University of Texas. So those were the 2 better games in the conference last week. Vanderbilt traveling to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to face the Crimson Tide, and the Texas Longhorns traveling to Gainesville to face the University of Florida Gators. So we have those 2 people as our guests. And this week we're probably gonna discuss all the SEC games as we do every week, the 7 games on tap. And Donna, this week I'm making another trek outside the conference, because I always try to take a look at some of the teams nationally. So I'm going to get a chance to see the number 1 team in the country. It'd be Ohio State traveling to Champaign, Illinois. So I'm looking forward to checking out Ohio State once again, as they did last year. And they have one of the top players, Jeremiah Smith, is a wide receiver, and they have a quarterback. Down to 2 of their best players transferred from Alabama: Caleb Downs, the All-American safety, and Julian Sain. Julian Sain was a young quarterback from California, was on the team when they went to the Rose Bowl, and then he transferred immediately after Nick Saban retired. And Caleb Downs is from Georgia. He was a freshman All-American at Alabama. So it's kind of a unique connection to this SEC. 2 of their best players are from the University of Alabama. And so we're going to take a look at the Buckeyes and the Fighting Illini. And then last week, Don, I was at 2 interesting ball games as well. I was at West Virginia, was at BYU. I saw Barrett Bachmeyer and his brother Tiger. Tiger's a wide receiver, transferred from Stanford. And Barrett also transferred as a freshman from Stanford this spring. He was the 3rd time he's been the Big 12 Freshman of the Week, and he's only played 5 games. So 3 out of 5 games, he was the best freshman in 3 of these 5 games so far. Watch out for Barrett Bachmeyer and the BYU Cougars. Saw them defeat West Virginia Friday night. Then I traveled to Los Angeles on Saturday, and I saw Penn State, one of the top teams. They were the top team in my poll. They lost to Oregon the week before in overtime. I saw them play UCLA. Donna, UCLA was a 25-point underdog, and UCLA ended up winning the game. They had fired the coach a week or 2 before, had a new interim head coach. They have a new offensive coordinator. He took over 2 or 3 days before. So they ended up, that was the biggest upset of the day. And Nico Yamalava, the transfer quarterback from Tennessee, he ended up being the National Player of the Week, leading his team as a 25-point underdog to a highly rated Penn State, 7th-ranked Penn State team, beat them on Saturday. So I was fortunate to see 2 good games outside the conference, and I'll have a couple more games outside the conference, and I'll be back to the SEC as always. But we always like, as I say in our show, we always like to keep an eye on the national scene as well. And so I have to break away for a couple weekends to see the game, which was a lot of fun, Tom.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, now this coming weekend, which is going to be the nail-biter game?
Yeah, on this schedule this week, Donna, looking at these games, I think I would say the top game you would want to watch, top 2, I would say, Texas, suffering that defeat to Florida, travels to Dallas to play against Oklahoma. We're not sure about the quarterback situation with Oklahoma. That's a Red River rivalry. And then Alabama, who's been on a hot streak, traveling to face the undefeated Missouri Tigers in Columbia. So those 2 games will be the best games in the SEC. You also have Florida, who won against Texas, going against undefeated Texas A&M and College Station. So there's quite a few nice ball games on tap. Arkansas, who made the change at coach with Sam Pittman was relieved. Bobby Petrino returns as the head coach. He was the OC. They're going to be traveling to Knoxville, so we don't know how they're going to perform under Bobby Petrino. He's an offensive guru. He has a good quarterback, Taylor Green. He can really present some problems as a dual threat quarterback. Big quarterback, 6'5", 6'6", long leg, can really run and throw the football. And I said, LSU hosts South Carolina. And an interesting game, never played before, was Washington State will travel to Ole Miss. Those teams have never played.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be hard to forecast.
Right. And then, of course, you have the oldest rivalry in the South. We didn't even discuss until this moment. Georgia travels to Auburn. So Georgia's a team, they're looking to win all the rest of their ball games to reach the SEC championship again. Auburn, they're trying to establish themselves. They're having trouble offensively. Fairly good defense down it, but we always tell you, if your defense is holding up the team game after game, they get worn out.
Mm-hmm.
And so they can underperform. It's not their fault. They're just physically and emotionally worn out. So Auburn's got to get that offense moving again under Hugh Freeze or Jackson Arnold, the transfer quarterback from Oklahoma. So there's a lot of good games this week. Only 7, but all of them are going to be exciting to watch.
Which one is going to have the highest score by winning?
Oh, the highest score, Donna.
Yeah.
I would say the highest score could be the Ole Miss game against Washington State. I would think that Ole Miss might be able to put a lot of points on Washington State. They're part of the Pac-12. Donna, there's only 2 teams there now. They're reformulating that league. They have a couple of years to reestablish enough teams. I think it's 8 minimum. So they're working on getting these other teams involved. So they lost out these last couple of years when all those other teams from the Pac-12 left to go to the ACC and the Big Ten. So Washington State, the talent level is not where it was in the last, let's say, 5 years.
Okay. Let's go about 2 minutes left in the segment. Let's do your top 10.
Yeah, my top 10, Donna, that I put in my poll this past week. We have to get our vote in every Sunday morning. So I have Ohio State number 1 out of the Big Ten, Oregon out of the Big Ten, number 2, Indiana out of the Big Ten, number 3, Georgia number 4, Miami out of the ACC 5, Texas A&M out of the SEC 6, Ole Miss out of the SEC 7, Oklahoma out of the SEC number 8, Alabama out of the SEC 9, and Tennessee out of the SEC is number 10. So those are my top. That's my top 10. And we have how many SEC teams that I put in there? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of my top 10 are in the from the SEC. Yeah.
Okay. Out of those, in your opinion, who has the chance to move up the polls, even if it's only 1 point?
I would say. I would say Tennessee. Let me see. Tennessee. I think that Georgia has the chance because I think Oregon and Indiana play each other this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So one of those will lose. I think Georgia will have the chance to move up.
Yeah. That sounds okay. AP, we're gonna have to call it a day. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, AP, for finding us. And finding all that information for us. I know it's a lot of work on your end, but you like it. You enjoy it. How can folks find you on YouTube?
Yeah, you can check us on YouTube at AP As We See It. And every weekend when I'm at these games, Donna, we have the interviews for the post game. We have photos on our social media platforms. We try to get the action as the game ends on the field, the celebrations and anything that's interesting, the bands, the cheerleaders, all the pageantry. You can find those on the AP As We See It YouTube channel and all our Instagram, Facebook, X account. And we have our show cataloged on Spotify and also at AP As We See It YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. Take care. Have a good weekend.